The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, let's jump right into it on the day. We continue this upward trend. We continue making higher lows, pushing up into our resistance near 1837. You go into EES, and you came into our targets, got a little bit above them actually here on the day, but ultimately pushed down, got stuck below. So again, what we expected from yesterday, kind of getting a little bit of a bull flag with some consolidation here on ES, the S&P 500 futures. You go into the Dow. You're just trending at our massive level here. Now, I'm going to say here on Dow, if you start to get above this 39,785 level right here where you rejected it to the tick, I'm going to tell you right now, you probably push into all-time highs or into 40,000 on the Dow pretty quick. It's going to be quick. But we also have some pretty big data coming into tomorrow as well. I've been saying, I'm trying to tell you guys, give you a little bit of a warning, but tomorrow's big. We have PPI, some of our first inflation data we've had over the past month. And you're also going to get CPI going into Wednesday, bigger data. But again, PPI will move the market an hour before market open. So again, make sure you're ready for that. Okay, so these are the pretty big metrics going on right now. And then I want to really highlight, and we talked about this yesterday, is like you might get good movement on some stocks. You had good movement on the stocks we kind of talked about. But the biggest thing here is don't overtrade when you're going into these big days, right? And we talked about this yesterday. If you wanted to trade or really get aggressive as you break, previous highs here from Friday, you mount and push. And guess what? You rejected right off of those levels, basically at market open. So again, it was kind of a sideways downward day. You look at broad markets, it was a lot of sideways action, some upside across the board, but that was pretty much it. Also, too, you had some GameStop stuff happening, right? Everyone's, going crazy for GameStop. We talked about GameStop a while back, mounting the 200 daily SMA right there, and then eventually end up shooting up. Now you're above the 200 weekly, which I think everyone should keep an eye on this. If you're interested in memes, like GameStop is all I'd be focused on, by the way, but holding above that 25.3 level, 25.4 is huge. Also, too, on the chain, we'll go over that here in a second, but a lot of that chain is getting in the money now. Very important that you're understanding about all the money that's flowing into it. So yeah, like if you want to trade some lotto, do what you got to do, but just make sure it's money that you're not willing to like lose, or you don't mind losing, right? Understand that. So again, let's jump into it and go over a few things here. But first, let's go really quickly into this. And now let's briefly talk about my favorite investing app and the sponsor of today's video. If you're interested in trading the exact same broker in which I'm using for options and what I'm doing market research on, this is exactly who I'm using. This is Moomoo. This is their platform on their desktop. You can also check it out for the mobile app as well. This is their live news feed. And if you're thinking about making the switch, right now is a pretty good time because right now they're doing a 1.5% cash reward up to $300 if you transfer in. Or if you're just getting started and you want to kickstart your journey, Moomoo is giving you 5 in each of the Magnificent 7 stocks when you make a qualified bonus. You can go down and scroll and see all of this. It's right there on their website. Check them out. The link is down below. Okay, number one, let's go over some of the names we talked about. Now, yesterday we talked about ChatGPT and what was happening with Apple. If you don't know, basically Apple is getting a deal signed, sealed, delivered, where ChatGPT and OpenAI are going to have a partnership with their new iOS 18. This is big for both companies, Microsoft and Apple. But I think it's probably bigger for Apple in the sense of they're going to have a little bit of a resurgence here. Now, on the day, you came right into our target near A187. You rejected off that level, and that's where we're kind of ending the day from selling at that level. Surprise, surprise, right? You even have our Lux levels established here. Volume definitely ramped up once you hit the resistance. Very clear structure and what was happening there. So again, made a lot of sense. Following our structure, nothing's really deviating. Okay. Now, the other part of this, though, guys, I got to be really clear here. Tomorrow with PPI, I want to make sure everyone understands this, right? People are like, Tyler, you said you were going to go up today. Okay, look, I am not pretending to know what's going to happen from PPI, especially at this reading. I will have a better viewpoint at the next reading of having an overall guesstimate of what's going to happen there, but you just don't have enough. You don't have enough time of low energy cost going into this PPI to give you a firm, competent answer. Now, I will say that I don't think it's going to be terrible. I don't see massive growth on inflation or a rise in inflation happening. That's my personal assumption. I think if anything, we're going to be flat, give or take, but that's my anticipation going into this. Now, what I'll say, if things go really well, you are looking for QQQ to test 447.5 quick. I mean, it'll be lightning quick. You probably will gap up to that level at 447 if the data comes out good. Really, it's actually a level about right here, 446.6 locally right here. That's what you're looking for. That is your line. You break that, you're ripping. You're going to all-time highs. It's going to be, easy. But again, there's no point in having a bunch of positions overnight here. You're just creating more risk for yourself. I continue to say this, especially going into CPI tomorrow. Don't get crazy. Trade what's in front of you. Stop trying to trade what you think is there. Okay, so those are a few big visuals right now. Okay, I don't want to go over too much in the futures because you have so much happening into tomorrow. Going into DXY, again, you kind of came down near 105, got a little bit of a bounce. As you can see, preparing for that data to come in, 30-year yield. You broke, retested, making, kind of a little pin down here. Looks like it wants to come down to the 200. If data comes in good, you will push down to the 200 SMA there as well. Now, a little bit of other things. Let's quickly go into what's happening here on the chain. This is the Apple trade we had here on the day. Really quick, let's go into options and let's look at some of this stuff. And I just want to talk, I don't want to make the whole video about memes or anything like that, but I do want to give a special view of why I think GME is crazy. Now, if you don't know Roy and Kitty, the guy, he started making more tweets about GME and what's happening, but this is the part of GME that's, it's absurd. It's crazy. So, I mean, I got a few little lottos I'm playing, but again, those aren't like day trades or anything like that. It's just total lottos, right? Just playing the game here, right? But, we look here, 34 strikes, very close. That's as high as you can go there on the weeklies. Next week's 34. Next week's 34. We go to the next monthlies in June, down to 40. I think 40 is the highest it goes, okay? You go to 2026, 37 as high as you can go. I think for January, you can go a little bit higher, to the 60s. These are the only contracts that go up to past the $40 are January 2025s and the Junes for 2025 go to 40. Pretty bizarre. So what does that mean? Going into the end of this week, I'm going to tell you right now, if you get in the money, if you end this week above $34, I was telling Jordan this today. I was telling Discord too. I have never seen a stock have 99%, if not all, of its options expire in the money. Besides maybe AMC at $40, but I don't even think even then. I think we still had some that were further out of the money. But I'm trying to remember. Anyways, that is absurd. So what's happening here? People can it keep going? And I'm not telling you to YOLO or do anything like that. I'm just look, I know you're gonna have questions. I was trying to answer the question, the elephant in the room. Okay, you're holding above your 200 SMA, the weekly chart giving you. I talked about this a few days ago. You're breaking the structure, the trend. You got above the 200. You put it to the next 200. Pretty crazy. What happened the last time you traded under the 200s and then you broke above? I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just saying you break the 200 and magical things start to happen. Who would have thought, right? The same levels we mentioned every day are the same levels we look to trade. Crazy world. Who would have thought? Their strategies semi-repeatable. Wow, crazy. So anyways, memes, interesting what I'm watching there. But again, GameStop is that dog because it just has all of the options expiring literally in the money potentially. So again, that's what I'll be watching for. Gamma covering things along those lines. If you need to understand a gamma squeeze, just Google it. It'll break it down. It's not super complex to understand. Now, rest of the market, broad market things I'm looking at. Now, again, obviously, I don't want to go too much into futures because we just don't know what's going to happen from that data. That's just the elephant in the room. We just don't know what's going to happen. But I'll go over things that I'm looking at, right? So again, NVIDIA, we've been talking about it, 906. We keep saying 906, 906. And guess what? You just can't hold that level. You're getting slapped. You're getting rejected on repeat, okay? Other part of this, other semiconductors, AVGO. I called this out on Twitter. I've been trying to inform you guys. If you don't follow Twitter, that is your business. Do what you got to do. But I gave you guys May 10th. Dude, all the way back in May 10th, kind of great, or a few days, what is that, 3 days, few days ago, whatever, right? I talked about what's happening here. I gave you the heads up, what was happening, semiconductors, AVGO, everything was going to happen here. You're going to start exploding. You did. You went right into our level. We've been talking about this. But I think you can even run further. So I think watching this data is going to be key because it's going to really set the tone for what's happening here in NVIDIA. And it's important to know with NVIDIA that they're getting every single price target raise possible. So again, NVIDIA looks really good. Now going into the chain on NVIDIA, things I'm looking at, hopefully you guys looking at the options. I can now use Moomoo as well, breaking this stuff down a little bit better for you guys. So I'm happy. I hope you guys are happy. But yeah, so things we're looking at here. Okay, let's go to NVIDIA. If I'm looking at NVIDIA, anything along the lines here, first of all, I like monthly contracts. I'm just giving you a heads up of the things that I'm looking at across the board, right? So I'd be looking for monthly expirations. I typically don't recommend or like going extremely far out of the money, right? I'm not a massive fan. But a name like AVGO, Netflix to a certain extent, Nvidia, I think those are names that you can afford to because you get the volatility. Even with earnings here, this is bizarre to me. This is crazy to me. This is absolutely bananas. You're able to get something like a 1,000 contract prior to earn. This is prior to earnings, so you're kind of protected. Still down here near $30. Now again, I know like Tyler, that's $3,000. It's crazy. It's $3,000 a contract. What are you talking about? I'm not rich. Again, if you can afford to trade NVIDIA, this is probably what you're looking at. So these are things that I like to do. Now, people are going, well, Tyler, what about the 1200s? That's not for me personally. Do what you got to do. Maybe like the 1100s as far as I'd go. But anyways, that's how I'd be looking at this, especially pre-earnings. Because I'm telling you, I do see NVIDIA pushing through 1,000, and that's what a lot of analysis are saying. So again, I'm a big fan. You can also try to trade like a counter to this or something like AVGO. Again, you don't have earnings, so it's going to be a little bit cheaper. But again, they're still going to be expensive. I'm not going to pretend to you these aren't expensive contracts. But you're still able to go far out of the money, especially if you're going a month out. Now, obviously, I'm not looking for these to get in the money. I'm not looking for anything along those lines. And I hate even talking about deep out of the money contracts. So if you want something a little bit slower, something a little bit cheaper as well, you have to go like the Micron route, right? Micron or AMD, although I don't like AMD until you get above 164. But you're going to notice when you look at Micron, these are obviously far, far, far cheaper, just a cheaper overall stock to own, and they've been performing very well, right? So, you go look at something like 130, slightly out of the money, $4. That isn't bad, right? Even at the monies aren't bad, and they're moving really good a month out. It's been a good mover. So I still like these contracts. I like how they're moving. You can get a little bit of a better detail here too if you really want to really break down these charts. But again, something I'd be looking at. You can actually see how they're moving, pretty stable, nothing crazy. And you kind of want some stability if you're betting on something like earnings like that as well. Again, these aren't going to get the same IV move and like expected move as NVIDIA. However, they're still going to let you play their momentum off of semiconductors, which is something that we've been focused on here, right? Like with SMH. So definitely something key here, guys. Also, too, again, want to give a shout out to Lux Algo, our indicators here on the screen. If you're interested, check them out. The link is down below, Lux Algo. Use code OD40, and you have to make sure that you use our link if you're trying to get our indicators. It's very, very, very key. So make sure you're tapped in, you're focused, whatever. But anyways, so you can definitely see, bouncing at resist at support, created another support there with the Lux level pushing up. So these are things that I'm always looking for, what I'm looking at, etc. So again, MU, probably one of those names you can trade as well. ARM, again, you're gonna notice a common theme here. Semiconductors, big fan. I'm telling you right now, if inflation numbers come out good, the winner will be semiconductors. Okay, understand. They're my favorite. I like Home Depot, I like these other names, but the winner will be semiconductors. ARM, everyone's like, this company's overvalued, this and that. Well, guess what? It's been a great dip. I didn't get to get my dip buy down to 80. I was a greedy bastard, but it is what it is. You're getting back above 115. You look very clean. I'd be targeting back into 121. Great day trade opportunity. Again, you're going to be able to see here on the chain, they're not that expensive, right? You need to do your own research. But again, these are some of the affordable options, especially not even trading a week out. You're trading like a month out. So again, like $6, right? The 130s, $4, right? You can still make money on these. You can go even at the money and still make, you move about $7 here, $5, you're going to get a good move. You're still going to make good money. That's what I like, guys. These are the names, and this is what I would keep looking at, right? So again, what I'm focusing on now. Apple is another big focus here too. Apple, but what I'm concerned about is you can't get above your key level 187. You break above 187, you're pushing into 190. Apple's another stock that I'm always looking at that has a lot of opportunity here. You go look at something like Apple. I have to let it load. It's my kryptonite here on Moomoo. But again, if you're looking here on Apple, these contracts on the weeklies are kind of like, I love trading Apple weeklies. They're the only weekly contracts I like trading because they move slow, but they still get good volatility, okay? At the monies are really nice. If you want to go 2-3 weeks out, whatever you want to do, but still they're not that expensive, guys. If you get over 187, I like the 190s. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Over 187, the 190s are a top tier trade, in my opinion. Or you can even go 185s. You want to be safer with, near at the money contracts. But again, the 190s above 187 are a juicy, awesome trade. I'd be focused on those going in towards June. Again, do your own research. But that's what I'm looking at. Hey, if you guys like this type of content, where I can go over some of the options and stuff as well. I would love to do more content like this. Sometimes I get a little bit, off track, but it is what it is. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.